Hello there, it's me, earthmanbrick, and we're back with some more scratch builds. So this is a scratch build farmyard scatter or whatever. And yeah, so I've made a few little bits and bobs. First off, I've made some hay bales and stuff. And I've done that using these. I got these in Poundland. What is it? It's like 4 of these big things here. And as you can see, it's already these cocoa fibers fall off pretty easily, and they're traditionally used for planters, so you often get them dirt cheap in gardening centers and such like. And I got these, and what I've done is you can kind of see it here, is I've kind of just cut out a rectangle, stuck it onto itself, and then tied some thread around it to make up some old-timey sort of hay bales. So that's those little hay bales there. I think those work rather nicely. And then with the offcuts, because you know, not all these bits were triangular, so I've taken the curved parts at the ends and the points to make a sort of a hay pile. And that's that there, which I think that's turned out rather nicely. And yeah, I've just sort of used super glue and a mixture of super glue, PVA. So the bigger patches I glued with super glue to one another, and then with all the extra, all these little bits that have kind of, you know, fallen off and stuff, I just sort of glued those on with PVA, and then just kind of twisted it up ever so slightly so it would come to a nice point. And then a little bit of hot glue at the bottom just to kind of act as a little base. So we've got that as well. So we've got a hay pile and hay bales. I think that works out rather nicely. I've gone and made up using cocktail sticks and wooden stirrers. I've gone and made up this little cart. And yeah, it's just mostly cardboard, just to make the basic kind of frame. And then I've stuck on wooden stirrers either side to make up our planks. And then I've recycled some bits of MDF as well. Though you don't have to use the MDF, you could easily use cocktail sticks or whatever, just on the bottom. And then I cut out little circles and strips of card to put around them. And then using a rotary hole punch, I've gone and chopped out some little circles and stuck those on, and I think that works. Yeah. And any bits that look a bit too neat and tidy, you can always just go in with a knife and just sort of whittle it down ever so slightly, so it, you know, it doesn't look perfect, because we want to fit the error perfectly. So there's our little cart. What else have we got here? Oh yes, I went and made up a little wheelbarrow as well. So again, just using the same sort of materials. This is just an extra push out I had from the MDF. If you wanted to make that, you could just make it using layered card, and then just go around it with another strip of card around the edge. For the circle, you can see the obvious bits of cocktail stick there. I've used cardboard here, so I'll be hiding that bits of cardboard with some hay in there, which will just be more of the coconut fibers. And yeah, I think that works. And just card strips here and there. Basic wheelbarrow. So that's another bit for our farmyard scatter. What else have we got in here? So using sprue stretching, which is just an old plastic sprue and a candle, and then you just rotate it around until it hits that melting point, and then you just take it away from the flame, stretch it and hold it for a few seconds, about 10-20 seconds, and then it'll be a lot thinner. And what I've done is I've then taken that, and then I've gone and bent it into place and made up this little pitchfork. So that's just made of sprue stretch plastic, and then I've gone and wrapped around some thread. And I think that works. And we'll just have that not too far from our little hay bale there. But wait, there's more. So I've gone and using similar techniques of the spruce stretching. Let me just show you. And this is just spruce stretch plastic and a little piece of card. I've gone and made up this little axe, a little hatchet. And then I've just gone and whittled that down ever so slightly with a handle with some, with just a sharp knife. And always be careful when you're using sharp knives. But I think that gives the general appeal of an axe. And then I've just taken a twig and chopped it up to make some split wood. So just have a split wood there and a little axe on top of the pile. And I think that'll work. There's a nice little bit of farmyard scatter. So yeah, it's another little thing to add to the pile. And one last thing, I've just finished making this, so the glue's not dry on it yet, but it's a little scarecrow. So I've just used old MDF sprue pieces here just to make a basic T shape, wrapped around a bit of card just to help secure it all in place. Whittled it down with a knife ever so slightly, and then I've gone and put on some grass tufts there just around the hands just to make it look like it's packed full of straw. Another tuft there, so all I've done is I've used 2 tufts, put one in the chest, chopped one in half, and then put it on the hands. And then I've gone and taken some toilet roll, toilet tissue, whatever you want to call it, stuck that around, and then tied some thread around the waist and around the arms. And then I've just gone and hidden the top of it with some more toilet paper. And then I'll just be hitting this up with some probably just mostly browns and blue colors just to make it look like some old torn rags. And then I've added on some extra cocoa fibers as well just to create that straw aesthetic. So I'm gonna get painting up all this farmyard scatter. Let me just pop in closer. Yep. So we're just gonna paint all this up and I'll come back once it's all done. So, bye for now. See you again soon. Hello there, and we're back. So I've painted up the bits and bobs now, and I've used these 3 colors. So I've used silver. You can use any old silver, it's all much the same. I've used burnt umber. This is acrylic ink from Dale Rowney. And this is White House paint. So I've just used this. This is one of my favorite go-to paints. I love using it. It just has such a beautiful effect. And you'll see what I mean when I show you everything. Once, you know, that's all done. So, I've not bothered painting these at all. So that's hay and hay bales. Hey, hey, hey. And we've also got here, this is our axe that we made, and the split logs. I've not painted the split logs, I've just glued on the axe. I think that works rather nicely. So we've got that there. This is the wheelbarrow that we made, and you can see we've used the silver there. We've gone and painted it all with the brown burnt umber and then just gone over to the white. I think that looks legit. It's a very sort of ramshackle kind of wheelbarrow, the sort that someone who just threw together a whole bunch of crap to make up, which is what, you know, typically happens on a lot of farms. A lot of farmers can't necessarily, especially not in the Wild West, couldn't necessarily afford to buy a lot of things. So, and here is our cart. I love how this has turned out. So simple, so cheap, so much recycled bits and bobs, and it's turned out pretty great. Now, I'm just thinking with these wheels, you could have easily substituted them and used old shields you had, perhaps. And you can see how wonderful that white has gone in with the brown. The trick is to wet brush wherever you can. I think that works nicely. There's our pitchfork there. Again, it's just those three colors. Again, silver on the end. Works an absolute treat. And you can just have that hanging about wherever. And here's the absolute one that I did last, and I love it. It was so simple and so carefree. Now you could have just made this using matchsticks. I've just used old MDF sprue frame, you know, this sort of stuff. So I've just chopped that up, and then I hit some tufts for the base there, just to hide it. And you can see how well the tufts have worked here, sort of desert looking tufts, to make it look like straws coming out the thing. And again, that's just toilet paper, and again, those three simple colors. Then some grass tufts just to offset it. So that's our farmyard scatter terrain. 3 colors, recycled materials, and the only thing I actually bought was the cocoa liners. The rest is all materials I already had. So that's a shoestring bunch of scatter terrain that you can easily make. Hopefully that's of some help to you guys. I'll just zoom in on here. Yeah, so hopefully this helps. But that's all I've got for you today. So thanks again.